Seattle might be on the verge of one of the biggest turnarounds in its recent history, and it might just cost them everything. The 2025 Seahawks, man, they look like a Super Bowl team, but cracks are starting to show where nobody expected. Today, we're diving deep into what's really going on in the Emerald City. Moves that could change the future, injuries threatening the now, and internal tensions that show you the real price of being elite. Because nothing here is separate. Every win, every injury, every doubt, it's all part of the same damn story. And by the end, you've got to decide with me. Are the Seahawks actually evolving? Or are they just trying to hang on before the whole thing collapses? This one caught everyone off guard. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak might be on his way out of Seattle, and that changes everything. The coach who turned the Seahawks offense into one of the deadliest machines in the NFL is now being seriously looked at to take over the New York Giants, who just canned Brian Daboll. And this isn't just smoke, the interest is real. Kubiak, just 38, completely revolutionized this system, elevated Sam Darnold to an MVP level, and got this team averaging the best points per game in franchise history, 30.6. His offense is modern, fast, unpredictable. All that pre-snap motion, the crossing routes, the zone blocking that gets DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Zach Charbonnet always one step ahead. But that success comes at a cost. Sources are saying if he does bolt for New York, he might take O-line coach John Benton with him, and that would be a double whammy. Losing two pillars of a system that finally clicked would be devastating. It took Seattle years to find this offensive identity. Starting from scratch right now would be a massive step backward. Under Kubiak, the team learned to balance aggression with control. Quick reads, nasty play action, and an offense that just seems to know what the defense is doing before the snap. And it's not just X's and O's, it's psychological. After so much inconsistency, the old school fans, we finally believed in this offense again. Losing Kubiak would be like ripping the engine out mid-race. On the other hand, we know how this works. The guy is young, he's brilliant, he's a winner. He's exactly the kind of name the rest of the league poaches without mercy. It's the classic dilemma. Kubiak deserves his shot, but Seattle is gonna pay the price. If he leaves, the rebuild isn't just tactical, it's emotional. And while that drama builds behind the scenes, a new problem is already popping up. One that isn't coming from the coach's booth, but from the trenches. Red flag in Seattle. Starting center Jalen Sundell hurt his knee during that 44-22 blowout against the Arizona Cardinals and is going to be out for a few weeks, according to Coach McDonald. And this is serious, not just because he's out, but because of the timing. The offense is playing its best ball in years, and now it loses the guy who commands the heart of the O-line. Sundell was the brains of that unit. He was the one calling out blitzes, adjusting protections, and setting the tempo. Without him, Olu Oluwatimi steps in. And look, he's a solid backup, but he completely changes the chemistry of that line. And you cannot just improvise chemistry. The good news is that Olu settled down after a shaky start against Arizona. He helped the offense run for 198 yards, 122 of those in the second half alone. But consistency comes from reps, and he's about to get tested big time in the coming weeks. On top of that, McDonald confirmed more headaches. Ernest Jones IV, Josh Jobe, and Torrey Horton are all still questionable, and Jaron Reed is still out from that wrist surgery. The schedule doesn't let up. The Rams and the 49ers are coming up, and every mistake now costs you. The challenge is keeping the focus, the cohesion, the confidence. Because when injuries start testing your depth, that's when you see a team's true character. And the 12th man We know this feeling all too well. Right when everything seems to click, fate comes knocking to see if the foundation can hold. And while the offense tries to regroup without its field general, a new headache is popping up on defense. The kind of problem every coach would love to have, right until it becomes a nightmare. Before we keep going, let me ask you something real quick. If you love this breakdown and you bleed blue and green just like I do, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. It helps so much in getting this content out to more fans in the Emerald City. Now hold on tight, because what's coming next shows the other side of this story. What happens when too much talent starts to become a problem? It's the kind of problem every coach dreams of having and dreads at the same time. Mike Macdonald has a luxury dilemma. 3 linebackers playing at an elite level and only 2 main spots. You got Tyrese Knight, the rookie who started quiet but has exploded in the last few weeks. 10 tackles against Washington, 2 forced fumbles against Arizona, and both of those became defensive touchdowns. On any other team, it would be unthinkable to bench him, but the Seahawks have Drake Thomas, who's been one of the most productive linebackers in the entire NFL, leading in tackles for loss, and just his reads on short plays are insane. And you still have Ernest Jones IV, who should be back soon, bringing that veteran leadership. Macdonald has to choose between youth, consistency, and hierarchy, and that decision is way more delicate than it looks. Seattle's defensive system demands discipline and timing. You can't just throw 3 traditional backers on the field all the time. Knight and Thomas are intense, aggressive, fast, and Jones is the silent brain, the guy who anticipates every single play. Longtime fans, you remember what happened when KJ Wright lost snaps to Jordan Brooks? It took a while for that locker room to adjust. And now, Macdonald has to pull off the same trick. Balance merit with respect, without breaking the harmony. My money? A smart rotation. Swapping roles depending on the opponent. Something he mastered back in Baltimore. If he nails this, Seattle might have the best linebacker group in the NFL. But if he gets it wrong, he could rattle the very core of this defense. And the timing couldn't be more critical. Because the next game is everything, and the opponent is as symbolic as it gets. Get ready, because Sunday is going to be electric. Seattle and Los Angeles are about to face off in a duel that already has a playoff atmosphere before we even hit December. Seahawks and Rams, both sitting at 7-2, fighting for the lead in the NFC West. And this time, it's not just another game. It's rivalry, it's revenge, and it's a chance to prove who really runs the West. Seattle is riding high, with an efficient offense, a dominant defense, and a locker room that is overflowing with confidence. On the other side, the Rams are coming in with Matthew Stafford's hot hand and the freakish talent of Puka Nacua. It's a total clash of styles. Seattle's balance and consistency versus LA's speed and explosion. And right in the middle of it all, 2 young stars are stealing the show. Jackson Smith-Njigba and Nacua, 2 wideouts from different classes, but with the same hunger. JSN is playing like a savvy vet, running perfect routes with total confidence. Nacua is just pure raw instinct and strength, the kind of guy who turns impossible throws into historic plays. Tactically, this is going to be a chess match. Seattle's defense has to pressure Stafford without leaving the back end exposed, while Witherspoon and Reek Woolen are going to have one of their toughest assignments all season. On the flip side, the Rams' defense is one of the most solid in the league. They only give up 17 points a game and they play with surgical discipline. But there's something deeper here. For anyone who lived through the Legion of Boom era, this matchup, it just has that same energy, that intensity, that pride, that feeling that every single tackle is a statement. Seattle wants to prove they are feared again, and winning in Los Angeles would be the ultimate declaration. But rivalries like this, they always leave scars, and depending on the outcome, Sunday could redefine the confidence, the hierarchy, and even the psyche of this team. The question is, Who is going to impose their will on the NFC West, the old guard of the Rams, or the new powerhouse from the Emerald City? Nothing that's happened these past few days is a coincidence. Every single report, every win, every new worry, it all shows exactly where the Seahawks are, right on the tipping point between promise and greatness. The offense's firepower is real, but it's fragile. The injuries are taking their toll. The defense is elite, but it's facing the challenge of keeping the balance and the egos in check. What we're seeing is a team that's maturing, but it's also being tested like never before. Growth is painful, and Seattle is feeling that right now. The real question is, are we watching a group truly gelling and getting stronger, or are they just barely resisting the pressure that comes with being this good? The answer, as always, is going to come from where it all starts, from the heart of the 12th man.